Hello and welcome to my review of AEW Fyter Fest 2020 Night 1. We're just going to jump right into it, but before we do, just leave your comments below of your thoughts on the show, please. Let's start a conversation down in the comment section, that would be greatly appreciated, and leave a like to show some support. So we kick things off with Chris Jericho coming out. It was Canada Day. And boy, did his jacket scream Canada. That was class. So he came out in like a jacket covered in Canadian flags and just started giving the other commentators grief, especially Excalibur. I think he said something like, you ever had pyro in your career, Excalibur, or something? And you know, because he got pyro when he came out. And it just got the show off to such a great start to have Chris Jericho on commentary and to have him come out like that and make an entrance. Next, we had MJF and Wardlow come out for their tag team match against Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. MJF cut a promo before the match. I wrote standard MJF. Now, I don't want that to come across like I didn't enjoy the promo. It's just, you expect a certain level from MJF, and he usually hits it. This wasn't like the most exceptional promo he's ever cut in his career, but it also wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. It was a good, solid heel promo. And it baited Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus out to the ring. They didn't do the usual entrance to show their intensity by just coming out, you know, and rushing to the ring before they even get the pyro and stuff. So I predicted MJF and Wardlow to win this purely because I could see Jungle Boy taking the loss. I didn't see who was going to take the loss on MJF's side. But I forgot, and I did say in the predictions video, that I wasn't fully up to date with my wrestling. And that made me... It doesn't just mean I'm not up to date with new developments over the last few weeks. It means you forget little details and little nuances. And there's been a fair bit of friction between MJF and Wardlow, if I remember rightly, going back to before I fell out of sync with wrestling, like maybe about a month ago. It goes back longer than that. And I forgot all about that, and that played into the finish, so I'm 0 for 1 on predictions. But yeah, basically, it was near enough a standard tag team match. You know, Jungle Boy got double teamed, and shortcut and what have you. Then he got the tag into Luchasaurus, and then business picks up, as JR would say. And it built in the end to MJF slipping on the ring. I can't even remember what the name of that ring is now. It's been so long since he won it, and he's still using it as his gimmick, which I like. So yeah, he took that out of his trunks, he slipped it on his little finger, which you shouldn't be punching with your pinky, guys. Like, come on, MJF, teach people to punch properly. But whatever, it's not real fighting. Calm down, Ebeza. But yeah, so he went to hit, I think it was Luchasaurus, while Wardlow had hold of him, and Luchasaurus ducked. And then MJF actually managed to stop himself from punching Wardlow. But then Luchasaurus kind of kicked the tricep of MJF almost while he had his hand right in front of Wardlow and just jabbed his arm forward into Wardlow. And then ended up picking up the win over Wardlow by pinfall. He followed it up with some other move. It's been a while since watching this match. I've watched the entire rest of the show and the entirety of NXT. So forgive me for forgetting exactly what move finished that match. But... yeah, Wardlow takes the loss. They continue the friction story between MJF and Wardlow. Luchasaurus picks up the win, and I pick up 0 prediction points out of 1. Up next, we had a little feature with Penelope Ford, talking about the story with her and Hikaru Shida, and her and Kip Sabian talking about her chances, and I think Shida was interviewed as well. Basically a video package for the match. I wrote down 3 words here. I wrote down Penelope Ford, damn. Right, in that video package, damn. Like, I'm sorry guys, but damn. Anyway, the match itself was really good. Like, I apologise for saying that and sounding surprised, because I'm actually not, because I do rate Penelope Ford, not just in the looks department, but just in the in-ring department. I don't think she's like greatest female wrestler on the planet or anything to that extent, but I think she's a good, solid wrestler with a few extremely impressive athletic moves and able to put together a decent match. And she's in there with Shida, who's probably my favourite female in AEW. I just think she's who they should be building that women's division round at the moment. I'd say she's by far and away their best. I know some people are a big fan of Britt Baker. I find her a bit overrated personally. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this match. There's a few really good spots that I wrote down. There was a Falcon Arrow that Shida hit on Ford, and then Ford, when she goes to hook the legs, Ford actually rolled through that and ended up with like a roll-up attempt on Shida, which I think is the first time I've seen that. It's certainly not been done many times that I've seen. Also, at one point, Shida went for a missile dropkick off the top rope, and Ford Matrix dodged out of it, which was really impressive. Like, went over backwards into a crab and then came back up and I think kicked her. I can't remember what she even followed it up with, but just the dodge itself was super impressive. Anyway, Shida ended up picking up the victory with the, I think it was the running knee. Penelope, easy for me to say. Penelope Ford kicked out of a Falcon Arrow, which I know the running gag, nobody kicks out the Falcon Arrow, but by the way they were bigging up the Falcon Arrow, getting the impression Shida's won a few matches with that. I think of Shida's finisher as being the running knee that she won this match with, but they were bigging up the Falcon Arrow, and commentary were really selling the surprise when Ford kicked out the Falcon Arrow. So I don't know, maybe she's kind of a dual finisher kind of girl. But yeah, Ford got to kick out the Falcon Arrow, but then got hit with the running knee, like in the seated position, and then she just runs over you basically, knee first, and picks up the win. So I predicted that correctly. It was far too early in Shida's reign, especially after all the build to her actually winning the title. Far too early to take the title off her. It's probably a bit early to give it Penelope Ford as well, but I've got very little doubt in my mind that at some point Penelope Ford should hold women's gold somewhere. Like, I don't know, maybe she's really good as like a manager character as well, like, you know, doing good work with Kip Sabian. She was always good when she was with Joey Janela. So she's really good in that capacity as well. So depending on where she is and how they decide to use her, maybe she'll never hold women's gold, but I don't think that'll be through a lack of talent. It might just be circumstance, you know. She's sort of like she's kind of like a Lita figure in a way, where she's a good manager on the basis that you know she can mix it up and she can throw like a casual Hurricane Rana or moonsault out there. I'd say she's better at those moves than Lita. Unpopular opinion, probably. I don't think Lita was all that in a bag of chips in the ring. But I do think Penelope Ford has potential. But now was not the time. Correct booking decision, in my opinion. I'm not going to say that the first match was an incorrect booking decision. With hindsight and with me now remembering the issues between MJF and Wardlow, I probably should have seen that coming. And I would say the right team won the first match. And I would say the right person won the second match. It just so happens I actually predicted the right person this time. So 1 out of 2, go me. The next match was the TNT Championship match between Cody and Jake Hager. Hager was out first with his wife. Whoo! I just used the expression all that in a bag of chips. That's what she thinks she is, isn't it? Like, I'm not a big fan of that look. That I can't even put a ballpark figure on how much you spent on plastic surgery look. Like, I'm not a big fan of that personally. But I can't figure out if she's really that arrogant or if it's just good heel work, which in my mind makes it really good heel work, because whether it's legitimate or not, like whether this heel in front of me is really a bad person or not, I care about booing the character, and I really didn't like Hager's wife. This is the second time I've personally seen her. She was at ringside during the Hager-Dustin match as well, and she irritated me in that as well, which is her job. So good job, Jake Hager's wife. She's a good heel. Unfortunately, Cody turned heel by not bringing Brandy out with him to counterbalance her, because I love me some Brandy. But no Brandy Rhodes in Cody's corner. We got Arn Anderson to look at. Luckily, Arn Anderson doesn't wear the same outfits that Brandy Rhodes does, so you know that's something good. Arn Anderson's still babyface. So I wrote down here this was a good match with a weird finish. Basically, it wasn't a weird finish in that it's never been seen before. I just feel like it wasn't carried off the best. I feel like Bret Hart and Austin did this being locked in a finisher and then rolling through and just pinning them finish quite well. Just to sort of name an example of when it's been done well. I think, didn't Becky Lynch and Asuka do it recently with the Asuka lock and Becky rolled through and pinned her? Maybe at the Royal Rumble this year? It might have been. Don't quote me on the time and place though. I do remember them doing that finish, and that came off okay. This one looked weird because of the type of submission it is. That finish tends to work best with a submission from behind, and then they can sort of do a backwards roll and end up, but only like 3/4 of one, so the feet touch down, and then they're kind of just on the shoulders. This one, with it being the standing sort of side choke, 3/4 choke, whatever you call it, Cody kind of had to like mount Jake Hager, for want of a better word, for this, and it just looked awkward in my opinion. It was like Jake Hager's in control of that situation. Why would he ever go that way? This guy's an MMA undefeated, whatever they talk about, they big him up for his undefeated record in MMA, and he's dropping down to his back in that situation. Like, I don't know. He should be forcing Cody down, surely, or keeping it standing. Either way. So anyway, it was a slightly janky version of a good finish, in my opinion. Hager looked dumb. Like, I wish they wouldn't do this. Like, if you're gonna have an ambiguous finish, and you're gonna have the heel celebrate, and then it turns out the face has won, or even vice versa, the face celebrate, and then it turns out the heel's won. Don't play the other guy's music instantly. Because Jake Hager was there, celebrating like he'd just won the championship, with Cody's music playing in the background, and didn't once do a double take for like several seconds. He just kept celebrating. Not once thinking, hang on, that's not my music. That's the music of the other guy that came out. I have to remember 2 theme songs, and I already got them mixed up. Silly me. So it just made him look stupid, in my opinion. Like, I don't like that sort of. It's like when someone's cutting a promo and then someone else's music hits and they come running down to the ring, but the guy carries on talking and then seems shocked when the other guy hits the ring, like responds to the music like 20 seconds later, maybe not that long, maybe like 5 to 10 seconds later, but it's a painful delay between the music hitting and them realising, we know that music's going out over the speakers in the arena. Like, a lot of people have been to wrestling shows, we as fans, and before I even went to a WWE show for the first time, I think I had a basic understanding that they can hear that music too, like in the arena. How else would the crowd react to Stone Cold's glass shatter? The music has to be coming out over the tannoys in the arena. You just know that. So for Hager to just not hear it, not register it, just makes him look dumb. I know you can say, caught up in the moment and stuff, but I think if I'd just won my first championship in a company and was really elated and they played the wrong music, I'd either be confused or very angry very quickly, because I'd be like, hang on, don't ruin my moment. Or I'd be like, wait, I was kind of on my back, wait a minute. One way or the other, I like to think, even caught up in the moment, like, footballers, here's an example. When a footballer scores a goal and then they veer off and they're running towards their supporters in the corner of the stadium, and they're, as soon as that whistle blows and they're like, hang on, the referee's like, stop celebrating, that was offside, they stop. They're caught up in the moment. They've just scored a goal, potentially won a match, a big, match, that means a lot to them, and then they stop because they hear the referee's whistle and they're like, oh god, what? And I feel like we should have got that reaction from Hager. He just looked a bit stupid. But whatever. Bottom line is, Cody won. It was a bit of an inconclusive finish. I don't know if they're planning on going again with Cody Hager. Because that's the sort of finish that in WWE would definitely lead to a rematch. But in AEW, they do things subtly differently. Like, I know people have said, they're supposed to be an alternative and they're basically the same. And while, they do have some of the sports entertainment elements to them, they do things slightly differently in respect to how finishes build the story. And sometimes a janky finish is just a janky finish, and then they move on. And they might not be happy about it, but that in WWE it almost feels like a dodgy finish entitles that challenger to another shot of the title, whereas in AEW you don't really get that feeling. So I kind of like that. So we'll see where it goes from here, but it kind of felt, but this is the WWE fan in me for years. Like, obviously, AEW is still a new commodity, so old habits with my way of thinking about wrestling die hard. And in my mind, it felt like they're setting up another Cody versus Hager match, but they might not be. That's the bottom line, because it's AEW. Anyway, up next, Orange Cassidy joined commentary, and I put that in inverted commas in my notes because he didn't really. He just brought a chair out, sat down, and put his feet up. He didn't even put a headset on, I don't think. This obviously greatly irked Chris Jericho because they're going to be fighting next week. I'm really looking forward to that match. So yeah, Orange Cassidy just came and chilled with the commentary team for a bit, which was fun. And the match, I actually was like, hang on, so they're not doing Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz? Because I figured Orange Cassidy was coming out for the best friends match, and I was like, there's no way they're putting Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz as the main event in this being presented as a pay-per-view kind of show. So I was like, so what's going on here? But no, he was just randomly out there for Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. But anyway, so Private Party won. I think I predicted Santana and Ortiz to win, which put me 2-4. And I just wrote in my notes, this match was fine. I really liked Santana and Ortiz. I can't bring myself to care about Private Party. And my reasoning is, before everyone jumps on me, because loads of people really like Private Party. And they've got a fun gimmick. They've got some fun, flash, athletic, gymnastic moves. They just can't make... Like, here's the analogy. They can't make me care when they're in a headlock and reaching out for the tag. I don't care. At that point, they have to be flipping about for me to care. For me to really pay much attention at all. And... having the athleticism is great. You have to have the psychology as well. You have to have that ability to gain sympathy or gain heat if you're the heels. And in my opinion, Private Party don't do that. For me, personally. Now, other people can disagree. That's fine. And say, well, I personally, am really invested in Private Party matches and, they're my favourites and I want them to win all the time. That's fine. You do you. I'm okay with that. For me personally, this is my review where I give my thoughts. This isn't trying to poop on anyone else's opinions. This isn't trying to make anyone feel bad for having a different opinion. This is just me saying my opinion on a show. And in my opinion, I don't really care about Private Party. And to use the standard, they're just spot monkeys argument, Young Bucks are perfectly capable of making me care about their matches. They do wild spots, they do flips, they do stuff like that. They also do have psychology in their matches. So there's the contrast, especially if you go back and watch some of their New Japan stuff. Some of their New Japan stuff where, was it Matt had an injured back for about a year, and every match it played into the story of the match was how knackered Matt's back was and how Nick was basically carrying the team. And, psychology, guys. That's psychology. And continuing a story and selling an injury, and I don't know, Private Party just don't do it for me. Sorry, they just really don't. They're just not my cup of tea at all. Up next, we had a Hangman Page and a Kenny Omega interview, and it was a fairly standard. It was the build up to a babyface versus babyface title match where they were like, "Yep, we respect our opponents, but we gonna win." However, there was one thing I picked up on, which was Hangman Page deliberately referred to the tag team titles as my titles. They're still dropping those because I said in the predictions, I don't know if they've just dropped that, if they've reined it in a bit. I feel, or if they're still going full speed with the friction between Hangman Page and the rest of the Elite. After seeing that interview, I'm like, they've reined it in a bit, but it's still there. There's still very much that Hangman's in it for himself. Hangman isn't really interested in being part of the Elite. Hangman is just aware he's benefiting from his team with Omega at the moment. And I like that. I've said in a previous review or maybe a previous predictions video for a different show, this is the first time I've cared about Hangman Page. I didn't care at first, when he was supposedly top babyface going up against Jericho for the vacant title, the empty title, like the wrestlers climb inside the title when they win it, the vacant championship. I just didn't care. I just didn't want Hangman to win that. I was like, no, why would he be world champion? Now, I care about him. I don't necessarily see him as world champion just yet, but I can see he's going the right way in my estimations, which is what you want, is for most of your fans to have an improving image of a wrestler that they clearly want to be top guy at some point. That's fairly obvious. But they've done it the right way. They haven't kept pushing him. They haven't Roman Reigns'd him. They've reined it back. They've changed his character. They've tweaked. They've listened, and it's refreshing. It's very good. It's refreshing. Yeah, but that little subtle hint, that will be in a video package when Hangman Page and Omega go at it at some point. That line, my titles. And Omega glanced at him. He didn't react. He just glanced. He just looked up and then just carried on being Kenny Omega. Pretty chilled overall. You know, it was good. It was really good. I appreciated that. Next, we had a Taz promo. So apparently, next week's title match has been delayed. I assumed this was legitimate. I haven't actually checked. I didn't Google it. Due to Jon Moxley potentially something to do with coronavirus and not being able to get there, or something being locked down. I don't know. But it seemed like a legitimate thing because NXT have a huge main event next week with Adam Cole and Keith Lee, potentially someone winning both titles. So I really don't think they would kayfabe taking off that. They're basically giving the win to NXT in terms of ratings next week if they're taking that title match off. Unless the plan is to take it off and then win the subsequent week because they've just moved it back by a week. I'm not sure. I feel like it must be legitimate. It seems like a strange thing to kayfabe to me. I'm just, while I've been waffling, I've just been sort of Googling COVID-19 concerns. Yeah, so it sounds like it's legitimate. Yeah, being tested. Oh, his first test was conducted at the same time. So Renee Young's had a positive test for it. That would explain it. So he's having another test and, let me see. He's tested negative on 2 separate occasions with a third test scheduled to take place before the end of this week. Okay, so yeah, they're playing it safe. Knocking it back a week to sort of not be having the test on, say, Friday, Saturday, and then having the match on Wednesday potentially be cancelled. They're giving it another week because then if they need to cancel it, they've got another show to actually cancel it during that show. I can appreciate that. Okay, good move. So Taz cut a heel promo, work shoot kind of situation, you know, refer to the coronavirus thing, which is refreshing that AEW do that as well, might I add. But also then was like, nah, he's just scared of Brian Cage, he's just making it up, which I appreciated. I was like, yeah, go on then, Taz. Then the Best Friends made their entrance, and they were, sorry, not the Best Friends. Best Friends made their entrance, and they were driven in like a minivan kind of thing, like just a medium-sized family car to the arena by Trent's mum. And I was just like, that's amazing. Like, you can't turn these guys heel after that. That's just, they are just like so down to earth and so cool. Like, the only way would be to go completely, like, get them win the titles and go completely sort of megastar on us and be too big for the boots kind of thing. That's the only way you could do it. So, yeah, the main event was Paige and Omega defending against Best Friends. I noticed fairly early in the match, FTR came out and chilled with commentary. Brought some beers, just wanted to watch the match. Didn't really play into the match, just sat there and watched it. Obviously, cementing themselves as quite high up in the rankings early, I guess. I did notice, didn't they mention that Private Party were going to challenge the winners? And I think maybe even Private Party were watching backstage or something. I can't remember. Oh, I never mentioned Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy contributed nothing to Private Party that I noticed. But again, I wasn't fully invested in that match. But yeah, so Private Party, I suppose they're on a roll, you know, and running into a potential title match against the winner of this match. And I just thought when they said that, I was like, okay, well, I don't care who wins this, but I hope they beat Private Party. So yeah, the finish. This match was good. It was good fun. It was, considering this is like a special, which is supposed to be almost pay-per-view quality, I don't think this was nowhere near the Young Bucks Paige and Omega match. Nowhere near. And I know that was an exceptional tag match, but this was nowhere near that. It wasn't comparable at all. The finish was a bit disappointing. Just a buckshot lariat. I thought that pin was going to get broken up. I didn't think he was necessarily going to kick out. Was it Chucky T? I can't remember which one it was. I don't think Chucky T or Trent are particularly going to kick out of a buckshot lariat. I feel like they're a tier below Hangman Page and you don't get to kick out of the finisher of someone a tier above you. But I feel like that should have been broken up. That just didn't feel like the finish. I was a bit surprised when it just ended the match. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, I predicted the winners correctly. I predicted Paige and Omega to win, I believe. I was umming and ahhing a bit about, you know, will they break down? But I think I ended up just saying, no, it's probably going to stick with them for a bit. FTR came down to the ring with some beers afterwards. Obviously, Paige took a beer. Omega took a beer, but then poured it away because, as far as I'm aware, Omega doesn't drink, does he? So I was like, oh, how are we going to handle this? Are we just going to go off air with him holding a beer awkwardly? But no, he poured it away, and then FTR got in his face, and then the Young Bucks came out, because next week we've got the Young Bucks and FTR on the same team in an 8-man tag. So they're obviously building that friction for them to eventually build to that tag match. So that's fine. That's good. I like it. Good storytelling. Like, use their teammates in the Elite to build that friction as well. Why not? So, yeah, enjoyed the show overall. Let me know your thoughts if you haven't already. If you were waiting to hear mine so you could directly agree or disagree, then great. Shoot those thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you didn't at the beginning to let me know that you enjoyed this video. But yeah, let me know in the comments let me know in the like button what you thought of this video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the show. That's the actual wrestling show. That's a good way to do it. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. Also, don't forget to check the description for my other channels, my social media, my Patreon, all that fun stuff. I would greatly appreciate you checking any of it out. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA, you've been amazing, and I will see you next time.